Welcome, football fans. Buckle up for another hard-hitting episode of Player 54 Podcast, an independent show focused solely on alternative and opportunity football. From a sunny Southwest Florida studio, here is your host, Michael Lathrop.
Hello, football fans. This is episode 135, The Return of the Toros. Welcome back to another episode of Player 54 Podcast. Today, we welcome Continental Football League San Antonio Toros president and co-owner Joshua Mair to discuss his team, the Continental Football League, and more. Welcome, Joshua. I appreciate taking the time out of your schedule to appear on the show to discuss your role as president and co-owner of the San Antonio Toros of the reintroduced Continental Football League.
I'm glad to be here. It's been a wild few weeks. I can't wait to let the fans and the community know what's been going on and how we got to this point. So I'm excited.
Well, Joshua, to be transparent here, prior to the relaunch of the San Antonio Toros, we have already known one another due to our roles in the alternative football media space. So, although a bonus, that's not the reason for today's sit down, right? So, I think it's important before we dive into the Toros' return. I believe it could be a little bit beneficial for those, tuning in if you took a moment to discuss, your background a little bit and the connection to the city and football.
Sure, I would love to do that. So I'm born and raised in San Antonio. I guess I would just consider myself a huge football fan. Been rooting for the Cowboys and the Aggies since I was born. It's kind of was a family passage, a rite, so to speak. And then I'm not as old as some of the old hats. One of the first, alternative football type teams that I got involved with was the Commanders when they came to town. I had a real love and passion for football here in San Antonio. I want to do anything I can do to make it happen. So support the Commanders as much as I could. I supported the Brahmins as much as I could. And when the Brahmas came to town, to be perfectly honest with you, me, like probably many other people that got into the podcasting, social media, alternative football spaces, we were looking for something to fill that hunger we had to learn about the team, to see what's going on. The news cycle, a lot of legacy media was really not participating in feeding us information. So one day, me and my cousin, actually, if you go back to the very first episodes, everybody may or may not know, I had my own podcast called the Brahma Bullpen. I worked on behalf of United Football Media for a couple of years. But when I started my own thing, it was just me and my cousin, just started talking ball. And a year later, I had this media group reach out to me and say, hey, your content's not bad. Do you mind if we put it on our channel and we can go from there? That led into becoming a credentialed media member for the UFL. That led into sports columns. That led into some investigative type reporting articles that I was doing. I was going to cover the IFA. The Caballeros were going to be here in town. It was going to be a big deal with me. That's where I first met, believe it or not, one of my competitors and now owners that I will be competing against team to team, Quincy Workman. He was sort of part of that group. So we met there and just kind of, everything has kind of grown. Yourself, I'll let everybody in on a little secret. You mentioned we've talked before. I believe I've talked to you on the phone a few times, and it's never been for less than an hour. So I don't know if it's because I ramble or you ramble, but it's definitely because of you both. And so, like, I corroborated stories through sources that you had, so that I could write something in my blogs and articles that were confirmed. 3 sources of confirmation and citing sources and references. I did go to college, so I have professional writing training that I had to take, and I understand the significance of not plagiarizing and all that stuff. So it kind of made it to where this alternative football little world filled a little niche for me. I was able to feed my hunger to be part of a San Antonio football team in any way that I could. That was basically the only driving force that I had. And then I found out I had this cool little hobby that was refreshing. It was exciting, and it It was actually a stress reliever. I would have my day job. Everybody has day jobs, and they sometimes I own a business as well. So I have a regular full-time day job, and I own a pretty successful retail business here in the San Antonio area. Um, and I found this sports media thing was like this nice little refresher for me. So that's basically how I got started in this crazy little world that we're in.
Yeah, so sorry about some of those past conversations. Just it's funny how that does work out. My wife says I too much of a people's person. So sometimes when it goes, it just kind of it's
Yeah,
natural. So my apologies.
yeah, it's okay.
uh, well, so looking at this situation, right? So to many fans, it was a shock to learn that the United Football League, made their decision and announced that the San Antonio Brahmas were not returning for the 2026 season. I understand that you were not completely blindsided by this. All right. So I'm not trying to pull the curtains too much here, Joshua. I mean, I'll let you share. Um, these developments, you know, everything takes time, right? Sometimes it can be days, weeks, months, but when did you first have an idea that the Brahmas were not returning and that this was the likely outcome that the city that you love, the city that you reside in, and the sport that you love is going to have another vacuum, so to speak?
Well, I'm going to be 100% honest and transparent with you. I learned when everybody else did. I had communications with uh, officials here in San Antonio from the city, from the Alamo Dome, and I had communications with team officials for the Brahmas within a week or two of leading up to the announcement, where everything was still on track to happen here. So, to be perfectly honest with you, even the insider type communications that I had, and I'm talking the highest level of communication I could have with a city representative who manages all city of San Antonio facilities, the third or fourth person up on the food chain for the city and for the Alamo Dome. And also, I had communication with the highest level of employee you could have that were specifically charged to the San Antonio Brahmas. And if you guys want to Google those two people, then you'll know their names. But I'm not going to try to put anyone on blast because I think they were also caught off guard as much as the community and as I was. There was some rumblings that the UFL was looking for a better deal from San Antonio. I didn't get that from any official sources. I got that from fans that said they got it from somebody who got it from somebody. So I really didn't give it any credibility because when I got that, I reached out to the actual people involved and asked poignant questions that I was giving clear answers to. So I really do think that the decision to relocate the Brahmas happened in a very, very short time period. Some of the other things that I've learned since then is the stadium, the efforts the team had made to look for stadiums afterwards. It basically just didn't go anywhere. There really was nothing in San Antonio that fit the exact mold that they're looking for. Obviously, you know that the UFL has decided that they want to play in a specific sized stadium uh, for the reasons that they've probably already made public. So, to be perfectly honest with you, I found out the same way as everybody else. I had a fundraising activity that I was doing for that the San Antonio Brahmas were part of for Christus Santa Rosa's Children's Hospital. The same exact day where I was donating money to show not only support for that, it was also a Brahmas related item that I was working to bid on to help raise funds for that. So I was kind of doing a double venture there. So the exact day that I was picking up, people might have seen my social media posts. I bought there's cows on parade to raise funds, and someone commissioned, or someone from the team, the Brahmas commissioned a Brahmas themed cow. I bid on it because I'm a crazy psychopath fan, and I want to do everything I can do to support San Antonio football in any way that I can. My wife thinks I'm nuts, but it's fine. So the day I was picking that up was the day that the team announced they were leaving. So it was actually a pretty big of a gun punch to myself, which is what led me to this interview today.
Well, I was going to say, information, events, it's all power, right? It sparks a chain of events that have led, to us sitting here and discussing the return of the Toros. So, why don't we the idea sparks, right? So chain of events sparks thoughts, right? So why don't you walk us through how, or when those thoughts first prompted, who those first discussions were had with, who were the first, how many people did it take before there was interest in getting this group together? Just kind of, because I think a lot of people are a little shocked by this, right? Because I think more often than not, when we see ownership groups, we see groups that are, you millionaires, you billionaires, certain people that have a certain stature in the community. Like, okay, yeah, I could see that person starting. Like, I think a lot of people are a little shocked here. So why don't you take a moment and kind of share how this came to be?
Okay, yeah, it was a social media post. I was upset, and I put something. Someone had posted something. I can't remember exactly what it was at the moment, but they had put something like the CFL had other news out there, and they said, "Hey, what about San Antonio CFL?" So I just reposted that and said, "Hey, at your Twitter handle COFL, what do we think about this?" Uh, Shortly later, I get a call from a guy. Well, I think it was named Michael Lathorpe. I think is the guy that called me up and said, "Hey, man, what you got going on in San Antonio?" And I said, "Well, here's what's going on." And I believe your exact words to me were, "You should maybe take a phone call from Manny if you can." Manny, the owner of the Continental Football League and the owner of the Ohio Valley Ironman. I know he's been on your channel, and he says, "Just talk to him." And I think my exact words to you were, "Well, I don't know what I can do, but I'll do anything at this point." So then on Saturday, I get a message from the league saying, "Hey, Manny would like to meet." And I said, "Wow, that was pretty quick, right?" So that was a Friday to a Saturday. I was on my way to College Station to go to a Texas A&M football game. I go to a lot of football games these days that are all over the place. So on my way home Sunday, I set up a conference call with Manny himself. I had my wife in the car with me. We were driving back, and the majority of the time, I thought the conference call was going to be about what I could do to help with maybe the Austin team, maybe with the league itself, see what I could do to anything I could do. I was going to go full on board with the Texas syndicate and do anything I could do to be part of that and make sure that at least we had some football down here in the South Central Texas area. It was pretty much my main goal. Well, after talking to Manny for kind of hours and 4 or 5 days in a row and going over the business model and seeing the support that the league was going to have. That's the biggest thing. I found out that he was actually sales pitching me on being part of the ownership group. And I almost don't like the word ownership group. I want to say management group, being part of the management group down here. Um, he told me how much the fees were to buy into the league. He told me the support he was going to have, has his whole business model ready to lay out. That's so unique and forward thinking that in my mind, there's zero possibility of this not happening. I mean, sitting down, talking to him, seeing what's worked up with his teams and uh, knowing San Antonio, like I know San Antonio, to me was a no-brainer. I said, okay, well, who do I send the check to? So he's like, okay, well, let's talk some more. So we had 2 or 3 meetings a day for 4 or 5 days in a row. Uh, any question you think we could ask from, stuff that doesn't matter at this point, like food vendors, all the way up to facilities, all the way up to year-round activities, to how does the public investment part of this thing work? Because that's, as everybody knows, for the fans, by the fans, going to be owned by the fans, all that kind of stuff. I was just as critical as anybody that's watching this podcast or follows us on social media. I was as critical as anyone else was. The only difference is I was just upset enough to risk it. I said, you know what? If no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Just get out of the way. I'll make it happen. I'm a pretty bulldog type person in my regular life. You give me a goal, I'm going to achieve it. And so then I first went to, who do I need on my team to make this happen? Because nobody does anything on their own ever. I'll be honest with you. When talking to Manny and setting everything up down here, he actually suggested that I kind of be the face of our group, based upon what he knew about social media and me and the community. And, trust is a big deal. So I really do know a lot of the big time super fans and fan groups for the Brahmas. And one of the thought processes were another team, another league coming to San Antonio. How do we get past the I'm not going to waste my time with that because it's going to fail. And although just knowing me is not going to solve that, but if it can solve a piece of that, if people will know that we're doing this because we love football. Look, nobody's in, and I can't talk about how the other teams are structured and how things are working and all that stuff. But right now, for the San Antonio Toros, our ownership group, nobody is getting paid anything. Our priority is taking the field, paying the players, and paying the coaches. We've already got players reaching out, committed to be on board. We're talking to coaches right now. We're going to let football guys do football things. We're going to manage. We're going to use all of our friends and family to work the gates, so to speak. We are having full-time paid employees. I have staff that I'm meeting with every Monday. So don't get me wrong. But what I'm trying to say is our management group, we're basically a bunch of guys that I got together that I knew would be able to help me make this thing work, get it launched, make it professional, and make sure that we have the physical assets and resources we need to take the field on game day. I'll just take a few minutes and tell you about the other partners I got going on right now. There's a couple of more people that might be coming on board, but the first person I called was, if anybody follows United Football Media, his name is Connor. Everybody knows him as Ace. He is the vice president of content over there. He's one of the guys that reached out to me when I started getting into this crazy little world of alternative football media stuff, and been working with him for 3 years now. He's an amazing, amazing guy. Highly educated man on the outside in his professional life, and a truly passionate football fan on this side of his life. So I said, you know what? I need a passionate football man, and it doesn't hurt that he's been in media for so long. He knows how to make cool graphics. He knows how to set up websites. He knows all the technology side of this thing, and he's been in marketing now for 7 years. He used to run or assist in running a Discord for Fox Sports when the USFL first launched. So they were actually a paid media component from Fox back in the day, and then led to them starting their own thing and been having great coverage for the UFL all these years, and helping people like myself and other creators get credentialed as media for the league. And it's just been awesome. So I said, well, I know he can come do it for a team that he's part managing partner or owner, whatever you want to call him, board member for. So I called him, and he couldn't say yes fast enough. Another gentleman that I called, these other two guys, I have business dealings in my personal life. I've been in business with one of them for probably 20 years. And the other one, I've been in business off and on for, I say at this point, probably 10 years or so. I don't know the exact number, but one of the guys, his name's James. If you guys go to our website, cofltoros.com, you can find a little ownership group bio on everybody. But I've worked with James a lot in the past, and he has a unique ability to help us with all of our equipment, memorabilia, merchandise, anything from a goalpost to a football, to a tackling dummy, to a hat, to a shirt, to a flag with our logo on it. That's what he does professionally for one of the largest equipment and sports manufacturing companies in Texas. I don't know how far they go outside Texas, but I know here in San Antonio area, they are the company to work with. And he works for that company professionally. So I said, great. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I just tell him to go get what we need. It's what he does for a living, and we're good to go. He's also been in talks to see if he can help out with the other teams in the league and where he can assist in that manner. So to be perfectly honest with you, those back end things where you're like, where are we going to get this or where are we going to get that? We don't even have to worry about that here. We have this or that. It's already lined up. All we got to do is get it delivered. So it's been refreshing, and it's been extremely helpful with all that. I'm going to announce now, a lot of people, we haven't even put this out on social media because we're working on it yesterday, and I was up this morning messing around with it already. But our online store is going to launch very, very soon. And we got crazy cool swag going on that because this guy was able to just pop it out, So our websites are good. Our swag is good. Wait till you guys see all the cool stuff we got. When I started buying swag for the Brahmas, I waited 2 years for some of this stuff to come out just so I could have something cool like a pennant or something hanging up here. We're going to have all that stuff day one. It's crazy. Wait till you guys see it. The other person that is on the team with me is a guy named Robert Smith. He's the one I've been in business with a lot. We have a business together that we own half of each. actually was split 4 ways. Myself and my wife, him and his wife. We started doing, believe it or not, retail fireworks. I started in 1996 as like a 16-year-old, whatever kid, working for my uncle, doing fireworks sales out of a fireworks stand down here in San Antonio. I've been doing it ever since. My whole life, ever since then. I don't know what else to do. Here in Texas, you can only allowed to sell for New Year's and 4th of July. I don't know what else to do during those time periods if I'm not selling fireworks in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Robert was one of the guys I brought on with me. At one time, I was running probably, I don't know, I was contracted to some of the big boys down here, so to speak, in the retail business. And I was running 6, 7 locations that were all in my name. And sometimes I had up to 50 full-time employees during those holidays, seasonal, I guess you would call them seasonal employees, but 60, 70 hours a week during that time, doing that. And I did that for years and years and years. And sort of the same thing that happened with me getting involved in football. I had a gut punch. The gut punch was this other company I was working for. The prices got so high that I really felt like I was robbing people. And it was like a gut punch, and I couldn't sleep. Long story short, I said, I'm going to do it myself. So I did it myself. That's also how I met James, who's part of the board. He was doing the same thing. And so I have those 3 of us were doing this fireworks retail business. And now between the group of us, we have 6 retail locations. We're working on wholesale operations, and it's been extremely successful. And because the way we have the business set up, the business model, and all of us having regular full-time jobs, the company being profitable is almost so easy. It's a no-brainer. And I just look at myself all the time thinking, why didn't I do this sooner? It's such a great business model that has worked out. And I had the same exact feeling and the same exact motto with the San Antonio Toros, right? The business model is so simple and it's so doable, and there's such a small amount of risk involved with it that I don't understand why this wasn't my first option sooner. But something had to happen, like you were mentioning, that made me want to get involved with it. And so that's where we're at, man. That's the whole backstory. You're the first person, other than probably my wife and my partners that are involved in this thing, to know that story and to know it was a gut punch that made me start my personal business. And it was a gut punch that made me start the Toros. And I think that's going to be the difference between our group and a lot of other groups. One, we're doing this not for money. If I lose every penny that I have, if I take every penny that I make selling fireworks and lose it, keeping a football team open, great. I'm happy. Our only goal here is to make sure that the league is successful and also make sure that we have pro football in San Antonio. And with that, the first goal we have is making sure the players are taken care of and making sure the coaching staffs are taken care of. Nobody else matters. The league has already got all their money for the year. We've already given it to them. Here you go. Take it. Tell us what we need to do. Don't let us get in trouble, but we're going to go to work. I already have sales guys on board. All that stuff's going to be coming out. I have a meeting on Tuesday night, this Tuesday, so 2 days from the time of recording this. And it's just crazy everything we got doing. We got trademarks are done, registrations done, LLCs are done, bylaws are done. All the stuff that you need to do to actually own a business are completed. So we're a legal existing entity. And like I said, we've already got players and coaches ready to come on board and rock and roll. And I know this thing can't last forever, but I just want to say that the league itself, Manny, Mr. Kelly, Coach Kelly, at the league level, these guys answer the call every time I call them. They text or call every time I need something. Every time I have a stupid question that I don't know the answer to because I'm building a football team from scratch, or even if I have the answer, but I want reassurance that I'm going the right direction, they answer the phone. I think that's the difference between maybe another league that was around recently that had zero chance of being successful, because I think there was no decision makers at the top and there was no structure at the top. These are structured decision-making type. This is an actual league that exists, that has resources for us, anything from legal to financial. They have relentlessly confirmed to us there is zero chance that the San Antonio Toros do not take the field this summer in 2026. And I truly, truly believe that, and I'm willing to put my reputation on the line for that. I think someone hit on social media. These guys ain't taking a single snap this year, and my response to them was bet, because it's going to happen. There's zero chance of it not happening at this point.
The space is crazy, and I mean, as far as fans, I don't mean. Of course, leagues have come. Leagues have tried to launch, and they either get to training camp, don't get out of training camp. They get ready to play, week one. Heck, the AEF, it seemed to be as legitimate as anything could be, and come find out they didn't have the money to take care of payroll in the first week. I understand there's been a lot of horror stories, but I think it's also very telling when you look at who the people are behind leagues. I mean, if you're just a TV exec, or if you're just and I'm not, we could say like you, because you have a different background, right? But you come from the media. But this league is launched by football people. And I don't mean of the round type. Okay, I'm talking about the pigskin type, right? And Joshua, I get messages all the time, DMs, emails, that I'm crazy that I cover this semi-pro space and this and that. And I don't, and I've told people, this is not any more semi-pro than what the United Football League is. And that has millionaires and billionaires. They pay coaches on a 6-month contract. They pay players for only that short time. Finally, the CBA allows them to get a deal on Cobra, so it can be somewhat subsidized outside of season, but there's not guaranteed health insurance for them or their families throughout, and there's no guaranteed paycheck. You come in and you might play a week or two, get cut. And again, I don't, this is not, any different than what we see. These, you guys are in your community. It's football people, a very community and fan model. It's all community and fan first. And so that's why I'm in it. And I know I've done a very heavy dose of the Continental Football League here as of late on the show, but there's a reason. There's a reason why. I mean, Josh was letting a little bit more of the cat out of the bag. Okay, I mean, yes, I have some beautiful, and I use the term beautiful, crafted relationships, and even the ones that are not as beautifully crafted, I am blessed to have other relationships, whether it be with yourself, and I know where the right fits are with certain relationships. I would never steer somebody wrong. So, but that's not what this is about, Joshua. So let's flip this back around. So, I mean, I'm glad that we are here today having this real conversation. Your LLCs are in place, your trademarking's in place, right? Everything is legitimized, right? It's not just a hope and a dream. This is actually something that's real. So let's rewind this a little bit. Okay, so since the big announcement, right? We're only, less than a week away from it. And, it drops. What has been the reaction like from the San Antonio community? And does there seem to be a segment of support from the abandoned Brahmas fan base?
Look, so that's another cool thing about this. I already knew a bunch of these. I say this as a term of endearment, the crazy Brahmas fans, okay? And we all know who they were. Like, don't get me wrong. We all know who they were. We saw them on TV. They were all over social media for the team. These were the people that were the heart and soul of that core 10,000 people that would have went to a Brahmas game if it was held on the moon, okay? They were also traveling to every road game, spending huge sums of resources, huge sums of their own money, just to do whatever they could do to make this team successful in the Brahmas. At least 10,000 of them. I was part of it. I was traveling to games. I didn't go to all of them like some of the guys did because I had to go to work. But, the people that could, there was always Brahmas. There was always yellow and black in every road game. I went to all the championship games for the UFL, so I know all these people. I think that's one of the reasons why the support and the reaction has been so tremendously supportive. There's a couple of negative Nancy's out there, and I'm going to be honest with you. If I was to break it down by social media, Facebook is the only place where there's any negative comments. If you go look at our X posts, our Instagrams, and everything else we got going on, total positivity, zero negative backlash. You got some old fuddy-duddies on Facebook making stupid comments on there. But guess what? Not one of them have a picture in their profile of actually being at a Brahmas game. So I really don't, those type of comments don't faze me or my group at all. The people that we want to trust us, the people that we all are in this together, are the people who had the same feeling I felt, the gut punch when the league, when Mike Rapoli and the league disregarded the third highest attended fan base in the league for whatever business model he made up one day. That's fine. Okay. If you don't know how to run a business, UFL, having the third highest best attendance in this city to be able to keep the doors open, that's your problem. I know a way of doing it, and it's going to happen regardless of whether they give two hoots about San Antonio or not. But we want pro football in San Antonio. We got our core group of fans on board. And to be honest with you, even if half of them, with the business model that we're working on, even if half of them decide to take the chance and support another team, which we know they're going to, there's a bunch of nuts out there like us, Michael, they're going to do it. We're going to be extremely successful. There's zero chance of failure here. It's unreal to me. And I don't want to give up any information that the league's not giving up. I'll let them share all that information, but I can tell you right now, we don't need a millionaire to make this successful. All we need is 4,000 or 5,000 heirs. I don't know exactly how you would describe it, but with the way that everything is set up, it's impossible. I could almost fund this whole thing myself. To be perfectly honest with you, with the money that I make with my side business, I could almost fund this thing my whole self. I don't even need to do that. There's a bunch of people willing to be part of it. And this fan ownership, that's the other thing. Will this team ever leave? This team is not going to go anywhere because it's going to be owned by the people that buy the season tickets. Okay. I don't have all the details. I still have to make sure that my ideas are in line with the league's ideas, but there's a mechanism that when you buy season tickets, you get stock in this team, period. Okay. If you want to be that type of person or group, done deal. There's also a mechanism where there's going to be an advisory board that will be the fans. Okay. I'm not going to build an advisory board of an executive that sold an energy drink 5 years ago. That guy doesn't mean nothing to San Antonio, but why not have the advisory board from the fan that administers a 15,000 person Facebook group? So right there, I have a guy that has a huge Facebook group that's going to be a fan supporting group for our team. And I'm going to put that person as an advisory road on our board. And then when the team is like, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z, the guy who talks to all his group on Facebook all the time says, wait a minute, some of the fans are throwing this out here, or this is happening over here. What do you think about that? Great, let's do that. I mean, I don't understand. It's every time I even speak it out loud, the opportunity, the business model, the way that the Continental Football League is setting everything up is just amazing. And don't even get me, I know this can't last forever, but the history that the league and the Toros have here in San Antonio, my dad's high school football coach played for the San Antonio Toros. Okay. The
cool.
UFL and the Rock, can do whatever they want. Say they love San Antonio, say that they made this logo after the Rock's nickname or whatever you want to freaking do, man. But I'm going to tell you right now, the San Antonio Toros have been here since the 60s and 70s. My dad played for, in high school, a guy who played on the team. The San Antonio Toros are one of 19 teams enlisted in the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. Okay. There's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame, but there's only 19 teams that have ever been voted and nominated and received the opportunity and the blessing, or whatever you want to say, to be part of the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. Not the Brahmas, not the Commanders, not the USFL Gunslingers, although we still got the Indoor Football League Gunslingers, so go support them. We're definitely behind them too. We are not enemies of theirs. We are friends of theirs. They play an indoor league, we play an outdoor league, and we want both leagues to be successful. But Those other teams that have came and gone, they're not part of the community like the San Antonio Toros are. And we're going to lean so far into that history. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Continental Football League's website. You see the in-depth research and analysis that have been there. If you want to go to sasnapcount.com, there's an article that I wrote, actually 2 articles, but one of them I wrote specifically on the history of the Toros in San Antonio, if anybody wants to read that. But you just cannot replicate that. We're already got plans to look for any people that are still around San Antonio or South Texas in any way that were tied to the original Toros. I'm going to tell you right now, you tell me another new league or team that launches that day one are going to have Ring of Honor members, because we're going to have it. It's going to have it. We're going to take everybody who wants to be part of this, that was part of this, to be part of it again. If one of the old players or old coaches from the 60s or 70s wants to be on the advisory board, you're going to be the senior advisor on the advisory board if you want it. It's going to happen. Nobody else can say that. Even you launch an NFL team down there. What ties are there here to the community? Is there a Dallas Cowboys team in our Hall of Fame for the San Antonio area? There is not. But there is a San Antonio Toros. And so that's our focus. That's our goal. Honor our past, plan for the future, a football team for the fans, by the fans. And if anybody takes anything out of this whole interview and they're worried about the money, don't worry about the money. It's already there. We will be taking the field. Players will be getting paid. Coaches will be getting paid. Everybody part of my ownership group, the league's already been paid. And everybody part of my ownership group, we don't care about getting paid. We're fans. We are fans. If understand, the money's there to take the field, and we are fans. We are taking the field. If I don't get a paycheck, if Robert don't get a paycheck, if Connor don't get a paycheck, if James don't get a paycheck, and we spend 50 hours a week on this for the next 6 months, and we get to stand on the sideline for opening kickoff, that's all the payment we need.
Well, Joshua, let me put it this way, okay? And I know I'm going to speak for you in a way here, and it kind of probably doesn't seem right, but I think this is. I know a lot of people are like, okay, that sounds great, Joshua. Right. I mean, like, words. Hey, we hear words all the time. We're here for the years to come, this and that. We'll see you next year. Come back next year. Renew your season tickets. Right. I mean, that's, the fan base is kind of going through experiencing, well, they renewed their tickets and there are no tickets for, a certain team that has not come back. So I understand that. But, it's refreshing to say you're not taking a paycheck. But this is what I would say. And I know I'm speaking for you because I know we're in a very similar space, right? Got microphones in front of us for a reason, right? We've done other things. There's a lot of work that people like you and I have done for this space that hasn't been financially rewarding, right? It's been a lot of volunteer work, a lot of passion, grit, right? Doing that daily grind, weekly grind, month after month, year after year. And it is to do something that you're passionate about, to create results for something beyond yourself, right? For the greater good of your community. And I look at my community as anybody that's football, right? The passion fans that are always looking, because like you mentioned, legacy media doesn't get it. But you've already done it. The proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, you've already been doing the work. It's not that you won't continue doing that work, but you didn't do it for the end reward of a big paycheck. You've been doing it, and here you are. It's just another way of doing work for that community. Now it is strictly, you were spending money being a season ticket holder, tailgating, merchandise, right? All that's just going to be reallocated, right? Now it's your team. You're doing the work on literally your team. I mean, you viewed it as your team before, but you didn't have any say in keeping it. Now you have, one of many people that are financially invested in this. So when I know I'm speaking for you, but I'm like, if anyone's questioning it, talk is cheap. I think you've been doing this for quite some time in multiple ways, and now it's just going to be funneled this way as well. I think, it's proof. The proof is there in the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah. I know you know this, but in season, doing what we were doing for the UFL was 100% solely driven by our desire for the Brahmas and the UFL to succeed here in San Antonio. And in season, I was spending 40 or 50 hours a week researching, talking to people, interviewing, writing my articles, making our podcast. I think I'm up to 89 episodes of what I was doing. And it wasn't for any other reason other than fan support, knowledge, and to drum up interest and try to get people in the game. I think the thing I said the most online was butts in seats, and I truly do think that if the Brahmas would have had 25,000 people a game at their games, they would still be here. Okay, I truly do believe that. I don't blame the league for trying to be profitable and make money. They have CEOs that need paychecks. Okay, I think the difference is we don't need 25,000, and we don't need to be profitable. All we need to do is pay our bills, and that's it. It's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier for us, and the model that the league, the CFL, is putting down for us to follow, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I know there's tons of teams coming. I don't want to speak for the league, but I guess I'm gonna speak a little bit for them. After the San Antonio announcement, the amount of potential investors, ownership groups, fans, media, all that stuff that you need to make things like this work has been tremendous. The support we are getting has been tremendous. Some of the people reaching out are national wide brands that want to be involved, that everybody will recognize the name of immediately, and we're going to provide validity because of the teams and the ownership groups, and the ownership groups are going to also provide validity to those sponsors, and those sponsors are going to be coming on board. Stay tuned for more announcements. There's so much stuff happening each and every day. I'm surprised Manny doesn't just leave the phone on speaker. So every time I walk by my phone, I can just ask another question. But he answers everything we need to answer. I talked to Quincy, also one of our ownerships, the guy that owns Austin, Quincy. The Texas Syndicate. Excuse me. I talk to him 2, 3, 4 times a week as well because. One, I want to keep tracks. I want to keep an eye on what they're doing. I can't be letting this Austin team outdo us down here in San Antonio. That's the first reason that I talked to him. But then also, there's no need in reinventing the wheel. If you found something that works, okay, we're going to do it here. If I find something that works, he's going to do it there. And so it's just an amazing group of guys on the back end of this with all one goal, and it's to make the Continental Football League successful. And I think we're going to achieve it. And I was willing to put my name on it, put my reputation on it, and my family's name in life and reputation. Everybody that knows me is involved in one way, form, or fashion. And I wholeheartedly believe that San Antonio deserves pro football, and we're going to make it happen.
News of the new team coming to town usually sparks, more questions. And I already know I've seen some on social media starting to come in, right? Different questions. So I'm not asking you to break any news here, but when can people start anticipating the questions to the where will the Toros play? Who will be the head coach? When will the tickets go on sale? So on and so on. When do you think, are we weeks out from a couple things? Are we maybe, before the, first of the year on a couple of those things? I mean, realistically, you're going to get bombarded with these questions no matter what, Joshua, but just to kind of set that, okay, we got to be reasonable. There's a lot of things going on, and obviously you don't want to put all your news out in the first month and then it be pretty quiet for a while. So, realistically, when can people anticipate the answers to the bigger questions?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the sentiment that we're slow rolling the news so that we can maximize on the cycles. We're not there yet, obviously. We haven't got that in-depth strategy on everything. Some of the things we have kind of done that with, I'll be fully transparent. But as far as the big things, the coach and the stadium, our decision as a group has been made. So we already know who we want. There's already been some communications there. We already know where we want to play, and there's already been some communications there. So the only reason, in full transparency, those are not being made publicly known right now on this podcast, because I'm not trying to slow roll it or hide anything, is because people on the other side have not fully confirmed their commitment. And not that they're not going to, it's just we've been working at this thing for 3 or 4 weeks now, and getting all the paperwork done, and also making sure that when we submit an offer to somebody, or we submit a proposal, or we submit a promissory note, that there's some weight behind it. I can't go off as a guy on social media just being like, hey, you, let me play football inside your building that you spent millions of dollars building. Doesn't work like that.
Right.
We do have enough business sense and stuff to make sure this is done properly and through the right channels. We also have to make sure that any information that those entities are requesting from us is provided. And I'll tell you another thing that makes it a little hard, and I don't want to put anybody else's dirty laundry out there, but there was a league before us. Google time period, Google a time frame if you want. There was a league before us that is making it that we're having to pay for some of maybe some of their sins or crimes, so to speak, where we have to get these entities re-engaged and put their trust in the Continental Football League. And that can be a heavy lift sometimes when we're not talking to football fans, we're talking to businessmen. And so we have
Right.
to skate that world and walk on both sides of that line. One thing that I have known in business and in my professional life with everything I've always done, if someone believes enough in what they're doing and they're willing to not take no for an answer, those people are normally pretty successful. And if you can sell your passion good enough to everybody else, they'll get on board with you as well, because make your passion their passion, and let's make it good for the whole community of San Antonio. And that's the goal of the league: community, community, community. It's about San Antonio. It's about pro football fans in San Antonio. And we're trying to build something that no one will ever be able to take away from you. And it's true if we're talking about a stadium as well. Whatever we do, that stadium has to know that we're trying to enhance their venue. We're trying to enhance the fans that go to their venue, and we're trying to make them as successful as possible. We are not trying to make Josh Mair successful. We are not trying to make Robert or James or Connor successful. We are trying to make pro football and sports fans in San Antonio successful. And that's what we're fighting right now. But as soon as we get a stadium and as soon as we get a head coach, believe me, those things are going to get out there, because we need those things out there, because we need to make sure that the fans are on board and trust us. And so that's what we're working on. And we need to make sure that we have the right coach and the right facility. And just so everyone does know, we are talking to multiple facilities. We're not just talking to one with all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak. And I'll take one off the table right now, because I know it's been on social media. The Toyota Field here in San Antonio, where the San Antonio FC plays, which is a soccer club owned by the San Antonio Spurs. That's even one of the stadiums people bring up about the Brahmas, where they say, hey, why didn't the Brahmas just go play over there? It's a nice stadium. It's in a nice part of town. It's beautiful. It's professional. It's everything. A football field won't fit in there. The end zones are not big enough. The sidelines are not big enough. There's not enough square footage, not stands, not seats. That's fine. There's not enough square footage of grass for us to have a football field, have end zones, and have a place on the sidelines for players to sit. So we could take that one right off the table right now. I know that was the pipe dream for everybody on social media. It would have been a pipe dream for me too, but didn't take long to figure out that it was an impossibility. So there's other stadiums that we're looking at. It's just not that one.
It might seem crazy to football fans that, everyone said, well, soccer field. Well, what people don't understand is I have a soccer background. I played in college and stuff like that. So FIFA doesn't have a one set regulated size field. There is a max length and a max width. So if you're at the max length, you have to be at a certain width. There is a minimum length, which means that's why it's not 120 yards long, people. So when you don't have 120 yards long, you can still play soccer. It then changes the width of the field to make it still, proportionate. 18's 18, midfield. But yes, I just think a lot of football fans don't realize that soccer, although not identical to baseball's, from home plate, you have your different distances with the wall. So yeah, some people, the ideas are great, but in reality, everything does not work. So I just thought I'd share that, so that if anyone's like, okay, he's just saying that, but football, soccer, football play. Well, again, it depends on. There's a reason in Canada why the end zones are shorter at BMO Field for the Toronto Argonauts because that soccer field doesn't allow for the 20-yard end zones. So, I think they're at like 18 yards or something. So again, they're slightly shorter for the Argos. But again, people, it depends. Every stadium is not going to be conducive to it. So, I mean, I'm just going to share that to help get some of that bad. Well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, he does know what he's talking about. It won't fit.
Yeah. Well, and I'll even go a little bit further. So I didn't just make that up. I talked to someone that
Right.
knows the exact answer. So it's not, it's not like I went out there with a measuring wheel. You don't got to worry about my math skills here, folks. This is somebody in the know that knows exactly how big that field is and has tried to play football there before. So it doesn't fit.
It won't happen. It won't happen. Okay. Well, let's shift your focus here a little bit towards the Continental Football League. I know we've been on here already longer than probably initially planned, but the Continental Football League has already announced 3 of its planned 8 teams for the 2026 season, and among them, you have already alluded to the Austin-based Texas Syndicate. How important is having a divisional rival in such close proximity? I can see some people looking at it as a strength or a hindrance for both franchises. How does your ownership group view it?
Well, the importance of it is it's so important. It's part of the business model. So it's a requirement to have teams, especially rival teams, within a preset travel distance that doesn't involve air flight. So there you go. We want to be able to bus our players to games, and we don't want to have to bus for 12 hours at a time. Okay. It's pretty simple, right? It's one of the operational requirements to make sure the league remains profitable. So the answer is it's a must. It's a must have. And every team will have that sort of divisional area kind of setup. So if you guys are football nerds and you want to go online and you want to drop a pin on where all the announced teams are at, and then just put you a little circle on what you think is about a 4, 5, 6 hour, something like that bus ride type deal, and start hypothesizing on social media is where the next teams are going to be. I'm not saying that will work, but I'm not saying it won't work either. So you guys have fun with all that information. But the significance of San Antonio Austin rivalry is there. I don't know. A lot of people don't know, but if you go on social media and you try to post that San Antonio has better tacos than Austin, you'll be in a Twitter fight for days, right?
Awesome.
For days.
Awesome.
It's amazing, but we want to play off that for sure. Which city's better, San Antonio, Austin? People in San Antonio think San Antonio's better. People in Austin think Austin's better, and that's exactly what we're going to find out in June on the field. We're going to find out via our Sports Continental Football League football teams, the Texas Syndicate versus the San Antonio Toros. We're going to know who's better. And, man, we're going to play up that rivalry as much as we can because that's part of sports passion and fandom is rivalries. You guys, everyone watching this sees Aggie stuff back here. For the 10 or 11 years that Texas A&M did not play the Longhorns because of conference alignment issues. Let me tell you, for people that follow those two teams in college football in general in the state of Texas, there was a hole there. There was a void on Thanksgiving that was not being filled by any other of these rivalries that the power brokers and big money people wanted to force down our throats at that time. And it's back. The void's been filled. And for that to be part of the Continental Football League is an absolute necessity to have that rivalry that we can beat up on, I guess. I'm pretty sure the Toros are going to beat Austin, the Texas Syndicate, every year. So I've already put Quincy on notice a bunch on that. So we have a private, just like sports fans, we do have a private group chat, and I have already begun. And Quincy too. He likes it too. Don't get me wrong. It's not just me. We have already begun making sure we know that the other team exists. So I'll just put it to you that way.
So talking about distance and teams and different things like that, right? And San Antonio is a significant distance from Canada, and it's likely to say there are not so many Canadian Football League supporters in the Alamo City. So what
Although we
has been
although we did although we did have a Canadian football team here at once, just in case.
I I understand that. I mean, it was a brief moment in history for the CFL and here in America.
Yeah.
We did have some teams, but I still imagine there's not a large segment of people that are either fans or very knowledgeable of the Canadian Football League. So I guess that's bringing me to what is the reaction to those that have done a little bit more research with the Toros and the Continental Football League to understand that there is going to be the continental shift.
Yeah. Football people love it. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are a football guru and a football nerd and you like to get into the weeds and the details of the rules and you want something new and exciting and you're just tired of the same old, I'll tell you what, it is the coolest thing. And the marketing that we're going to do between the third and fourth quarter, that we've already had some discussions on it. Of course, it's not fully lined out, but what we're going to do between the third and fourth quarter to announce the continental shift is just, the possibilities are absolutely endless. And the game is going to go from the game that we all know and love for 3 quarters to this fast paced, get out of the way, crazy motion shift, high speed version of football. And it's just going to be amazing. It's going to be, it's going to, it's going to be the niche that's we're going to fill. And if the best part about it is if people love it, that's good for us. And if people hate it, that's also good for us. And there's not going to be anybody who's indifferent. Indifference would be the enemy. People that just don't care will be the enemy. But the people that love it and the people that hate it are what we need. And I think everybody's going to have an opinion on it. So I think the league making that announcement and making that decision is absolutely the best thing for the league. And then for the players, okay, we want to make sure that the players are taken care of here, and they're going to learn 2 sets of rules. They're going to have 2 sets of game film. They're going to have 2 different styles of football that they can go out and market their brand with. And we're not, we're not trying to say that the only advancement from the Continental Football League is to the NFL. The advancement will be there to the CFL, to the UFL, and to the NFL. Whatever we got to do. And if something comes up between now and kickoff that we want to do a little differently, the league is fluid enough and flexible enough to make it happen. We're trying to, if players come to us and say we want X, we're going to try to give them whatever that is so that they can build that resume for themselves. Local talent, of course, everybody's already seen the roster makeup. It's been released by the league. So we're going to focus on some local talent as much as we possibly can. And we're going to take all those things that people loved. One of the things I loved about the AAF was the regional allocation, right? Where certain cities got certain colleges, and that's where those rights to those players would be. And to have that regionalized support is just, it's a no-brainer. Why other leagues never did that just baffled my mind,
Well,
and they might have tried
two
to
that
do
I
it
can
unofficially.
recall really did it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
original XFL had certain
Right.
schools that had territorial rights where they got first dibs on players, and then obviously the AAF as well. So, I mean, yeah, this is not a new concept, but you're right. It's shocking. Even the United Football League now is starting to talk about. Mike Rapoli is talking about bringing in that aspect of if somebody played here, the fans,
Yeah.
right, know these people. So, I mean, like, again, it seems like a no-brainer. So I'm sorry, I know I cut you off, but I just wanted to put out there that it has been tried and true. It has worked.
Yeah. And everybody watching this now knows why every time I talk to you on the phone, it takes an hour.
I'm sorry. Yes.
No, it's both
So
of us.
maybe
Both
it's
of us.
more me than you. But not to cut things off any further, but I think we've been on here for a little bit. So before I let you go, I'll kind of give you your moment here. If there's anything that we haven't touched on that you feel is very important for the San Antonio Toros and the Continental Football League, here's your soapbox. Step on up there and just make it known before we.
Well, I've been on my soapbox the whole episode, so I don't know if everyone caught on, but my soapbox is the I'll leave it at this. I kind of look at things maybe a little bit different than most people. The support from the league, from the Continental Football League down to the teams, and the model and roadmap that they are providing to us. You do A, then B, then C, and so on and so forth. And that's easy to compartmentalize that. I got a job, I go do. Someone gives me a job, I go do, right? We follow those steps that have already been ironed out on their side and follow the support that they have provided for us and listen to the football experts and make sure we get the right coach to fit San Antonio. We play in the right stadium. There is zero chance that this thing does not work. Zero chance. We've already, in my mind, have already taken the field. And for the fans out there in San Antonio that are, I'm going to just say pissed off because that's how I felt. So if you're pissed off at the UFL, at the San Antonio Brahmas, we got your answer. And here's how I'm going to end it. I'm going to tease it. Okay. Now, I don't know if I'm going to tease it. I'm going to tell you what happened. We have Brahmas personnel coming on board. Okay. And I'm not going to say who, what, where's, and why's until I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But there will be personnel that were affiliated with the team that was ripped from us that will be helping us and part of the team that we are going to use to fill that void. So if you truly, truly, truly were a San Antonio Brahmas fan, this is the next best thing you're going to have to put your fandom into. You can still go check out the Houston Roughnecks and the Dallas Renegades and make those drives. Cool. I'm probably going to do that myself. Don't get me wrong. I love football. I'm probably going to go myself. But if you're a true San Antonio Brahmas fan and you want to see some of those same people with their next opportunity, stay tuned.
No, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Well, Joshua, I appreciate you taking the time to join the show to discuss the San Antonio Toros, the Continental Football League. And I know your ownership group have been extremely busy in a very short span of time to make this significant progress and whatever is yet to be seen. I know you're already working on what else is yet to be announced. So, however a good amount of work lies ahead, for you in the Continental Football League, for the inaugural season, I really believe that you guys are going to do what's necessary. I believe it's going to be top tier. So, I mean, kudos to you guys. And I wish you, Toros, the league, city of San Antonio, the best of luck, right? Because it's been a tough go in San Antonio for a number of years. And I can see that from how many thousands or almost 2,000 miles away. I can only imagine what that's like to be there. So I think this moment is a gift that you're giving back to your fellow members of your community. So kudos to you and your ownership group for doing that. And I'm glad that the Continental Football League and you guys came to, an agreement to be able to place a team there for 2026. So something they don't really have to wait. It just kind of keeps going. So again, you got a lot of time, a lot's going to happen. So down the road, if you're interested and you have the time, maybe, just maybe, we could coordinate another appearance to discuss the state of the Toros and the Continental Football League.
Anytime. Love to be back.
All right.
That's something different that we're going to do. That's something different, too, that we're going to do. The people that were excommunicated from a former league are going to be welcome with open arms in this league.
That's cool. Well, before we let you go, why don't you go ahead and plug the website again, the social media accounts that you have, the handles and whatnot, so people can, if they haven't yet, they have a chance to make sure they go check it out and follow.
At COFL Toros for all social media, COFLToros.com for the website. We have player registration on there already. We have tons of information we're going to be posting on there. And very, very soon, we are going to have an online store posted and ready to go. Like I teased earlier, you see, I'm sitting here with a blank shirt and my United Football media hat, and I don't have any Toros swag in my room. Within the next week, we'll all be able to scratch that itch and get some swag out there. So I'm really excited about it.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Joshua. I know the San Antonio Toros leadership are busy, so I'm grateful to Joshua for setting aside a time to sit down to discuss the San Antonio Toros and the Continental Football League. I look forward to seeing how the Elemental City embraces the team and league. Knowing the city's history with professional football teams, I'm happy for them as they have another team to support, and one I believe could be around for years to come. This concludes another show. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to having everyone back for an all-new episode of Player 54 Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into today's show. You can support the show and our partners by using code PLAYER54 at checkout at any of the following websites: RoyalRetros.com, where you can save 15%, TrueVictory.com, where you can save 15%, BuckedUp.com, where you can save 20%, ImpactMouthguards.com, where you can save 10%, HobbyArmor.com, where you can save 5%, JustMeatJerky.com, where you can save 10%. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe and rate Player 54 Podcast on your platforms of choice. Do you have a question or topic you would like to have discussed on the show? Message us via social media or send an email to player54podcast@gmail.com.